Honestly, Jar Jar has become a legendary character, and I can understand somewhat what George Lucas saw in him back in the day when he created him. Did he change his plans? Well, kind of this story shows you where the plans went after the whole fan debacle. Not only with George Lucas, but Ahmed Best talked about it also.
A lot of people on the internet wanted to see Jar Jar dead. Especially when The Force Awakens was first announced, I remember quite clearly people were actually speculating about whether we would see Jar Jar's remaining carcass in the desert. We did not, by the way, but it's really interesting to hear the actor Ahmed Best, who actually revealed in an interview that it almost happened. Jar Jar almost died. Not in The Force Awakens, but if George Lucas would have listened to the actor, Jar Jar would have died in Revenge of the Sith. The interesting thing about it is that for the Jar Jar fanatics out there, we know what happened to the Gungan, right? In the book Aftermath, Empire's End, we see that Binks ended up as a lowly street performer, and only children would talk to him. Once the Empire came into power, Jar Jar was tossed out, neither liked by the Empire or his own people, as Palpatine showed himself not to be a friend of Naboo or the Gungans. And so he was banished once again. In an interview with Jamie's Stang Room, Ahmed Best revealed that he thought it was a good ending for Jar Jar in that book, but in Revenge of the Sith, he had originally asked George Lucas for an even worse and harsh fate for Jar Jar's ending. He said, "It's a very somber and a very dark eventuality for Jar Jar. I actually quite liked it." He was talking about Jar Jar ending up as a street performer. And then he went on to say that it was really dramatic and I think a good idea to kind of sum it up. "I always complained to George when I realized that Revenge of the Sith was pretty much not going to have Jar Jar in the movie, and they were moving very, very far from me. I always complained to George that I didn't get a good death. I wanted to really just be hacked to pieces in some kind of way, and George wouldn't do it. So the thought behind it was going to be, since Anakin turns to the dark side and goes as far as to kill younglings in Revenge of the Sith, then Jar Jar would fall right in line. As a senator who supported the Jedi wholeheartedly, Jar Jar would die either on a sacrifice kind of level or at the very least in a mix-up as the Empire is taking over. But for me, I think it would have been awesome to see Jar Jar sacrifice himself for the Jedi, even though it might not have made a difference. This way, Jar Jar could have redeemed himself for giving Palpatine the chance to stay in power, for giving Palpatine the emergency powers that he sought after.
The canon stories now, even Lucasfilm and Disney,
if we go to the extreme, many
Darth
fans
Jar Jar
concluded
in
that
particular
he is the
with
secret
this
Sith
comic
Lord
book
behind
story.
Palpatine.
A story where it came time for action, and that's where the truth lies. The truth is always in the time of necessity. Jar Jar could stay dormant and hidden when nothing was occurring, but it was at this time, when one of his soldiers was at risk, that Jar Jar not only stole a weapon of a Jedi off his corpse, but he even knew how to wield a lightsaber in such a precise manner that even the clones were surprised to see it was Jar Jar and not a Jedi Master. Jar Jar's technique with a lightsaber was such that it fooled the best of them. There is much speculation as to how Jar Jar came to know these specific fighting techniques with a lightsaber, but I'll leave that for the comments. In today's video, we talk about one specific battle during the Clone Wars.
This all starts at the Battle of Mimban. Rex was holding down the fort while serving Jedi General Lon Teek. And, well, the Senator, Jar Jar Binks, who was running wild regretting that he even came here. Hardcase and Rex were talking, and suddenly the Jedi got shot to death and his lightsaber falls with him. Rex was shocked, but now with the Jedi dead, the command fell to the Senator, Jar Jar Binks, who wasn't even paying attention to the battle, but reminiscing over the Jedi's death. Rex, of course, wasn't about to wait. He ordered the retreat and regrouped with his guys later on. The problem was they needed to attack the generator located on the opponent's base. Rex, not wanting to lose any more men, he simply ordered everyone to leave the planet. He said that to the rest of the troops, but later that night he started the journey by himself. Not without getting spotted by one of his brothers though. Rex wasn't about to be skewed from his plan. Once he destroyed the shield generator, they should immediately push for attack. And the most important thing, keep the Senator safe, as Jar Jar was looking on. Several hours later, Rex was now surrounded and he basically got outnumbered and demolished. He knelt down, ready to die. As the droids prepared to wipe him out, suddenly a blue lightsaber swishes through and cuts down all the B-1 droids. For a second, Rex thought it was the Jedi General, but no. It was someone else. It was Jar Jar Binks, holding the General's lightsaber. Here's where the Sith theory creeps in again. As soon as he is discovered, Jar Jar again pretends to be clumsy. The lightsaber slips inexplicably from his hands and Jar Jar starts acting like a buffoon. He says that he took the lightsaber just so that it wouldn't fall to the wrong hands, and a frustrated Rex takes it from him. Jar Jar could have killed himself. Conveniently, Jar Jar agrees. He almost did kill himself 5 times, separating himself as much as he could from just a couple of moments ago where he was able to do a lightsaber throw and cut down droids like butter. Again, really convenient that Jar Jar all of a sudden doesn't know how to even handle a lightsaber. He even tells Rex that he is here to save him, and what he did coming here alone was not so smart. It was now time for both of them to team up. The Clone Wars waged on, and even if the comic just abruptly ends here, you honestly get to see a side of Jar Jar we always wanted, and as you can clearly see, he tried to make a lot of excuses in front of Captain Rex. Could make some sense, but to people like me who love speculation, especially when it comes to Jar Jar, this was a very mixing sign, and the writers themselves knew that they were baiting us with this, especially myself, who have indulged in the Darth Jar Jar theory myself. But you can't deny that this comic fueled the Darth Jar Jar theory for years to come. I suspect there will be another comic that will inch us closer to the Darth Jar Jar universe. But alas, what do you guys think about this and the Darth Jar Jar theory? Talk to me down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.